Hey, if you're early in recovery or sobriety, or even just considering it, one thing that causes a lot of fear is cravings. Cravings can feel intense. They show up unexpectedly. They can feel like they mean something, like, if I'm feeling this, I must be relapsing, or this is inevitable, something's happening. But I actually want to talk about how cravings aren't really the problem. It's how we interpret them, how we fear them, how we fight them that can often make things harder. So today I want to unpack a little bit of what cravings are, why they happen, and what we can realistically do about it. So if that's something that interests you, stick around. Hello and welcome back. My name is Jennifer. I'm a mother of 4 in recovery from alcohol addiction, learning as I go, sharing what I learn. I'm not an expert or a therapist in any way. I'm just a few steps down the road on the path to recovery, hoping that maybe something that's been helpful for me will be helpful for you too. So first of all, cravings are very normal. They're not weakness, they have nothing to do with willpower, and they don't mean recovery isn't working. They usually mean that our brain has learned something quite deeply. Substances, behaviors, and habits get wired into our coping and reward systems. Not just the pleasure pathways, often the stress relief pathways. So when things like stress, boredom, loneliness come up, our brain may tell us, oh, I know something that's worked in the past to help with this. And all that is a memory response. It's not an order, a command. So another thing about cravings is they're often about anticipation, not so much about pleasure. Researchers describe cravings as habit loops: cue, behavior, reward. And once we see that pattern, cravings can often feel less mysterious. So sometimes people will return to a substance expecting relief, and then realize it didn't even feel good. In fact, a lot of people you talk to who have relapsed will say they didn't even experience any of what they had been anticipating. And that's because that habit loop stayed strong while the reward part of it faded. So cravings are just that learned association. They're signals. So again, they're not a command. So here's where a lot of us struggle, not so much with the craving itself, but with our response to it. First of all, fear. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, or this means relapse is coming, and like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stop getting these cravings? Which unsurprisingly can amplify the craving. Similarly, fighting it aggressively, like trying to suppress it, arguing with ourselves, or just white knuckling, and giving it that much attention can also just kind of strengthen the urge. Another common occurrence is misinterpreting other things we're feeling as cravings. Especially in the really early days, the lines can feel quite blurred and everything can feel like a craving when we're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, any kind of stress buildup, hormonal shifts. So a big part of recovery, early recovery especially, can be just learning what we're actually feeling. So there are different ways to deal with it. I've got 5 on hand here. Some I prefer over others, me personally, but here they are. It's a really simple one again, just naming it. Instead of panicking and wondering what does this mean, simply saying, I notice I'm having a craving right now. It allows us to distance ourselves a little bit from it, especially if we tend to panic, freak out, catastrophize, obsess. Speaking from experience, that little bit of distance does make a difference. Secondly, riding the wave. Cravings do have a beginning, a peak, and an end, and they don't stay at that full intensity forever. For some people, just that reminder, this is not going to last forever. I can ride this wave, can help get through it. It hasn't been my top pick. I've needed some extra tools on top of that, but I have heard from a lot of people who have experienced a lot of success with riding the wave. The third is more about reducing the occurrence of cravings and supporting our nervous system. So that's things like getting enough sleep, eating regularly, drinking enough water, having a safe person we can talk to regularly, getting outside once a day. So yeah, these are proactive things ahead of time that help to regulate us in general. It can reduce the occurrence of cravings and also make us less reactive to them. This isn't necessarily a tool for in the moment when you're having a craving, like, oh yeah, regulate, go get some sleep. But it's really helpful. It is really helpful as part of the battle against frequent, intense cravings. The fourth one is reducing kind of the drama around the cravings. Number 3 can help with that, but also just practicing avoiding the whole panic response to it and the 5 alarms, and more having curiosity about it and compassion on ourselves and patience with ourselves. It can just generally reduce the crisis mode of a craving. What could we do right now to make ourselves more comfortable? And just giving ourselves a break, because we didn't ask this craving to be here. We didn't fail morally in any way. It's just here. Which leads me to the 5th one. We just have to come to expect them occasionally. They do decrease over time. They can feel constant at first and very intense, but they do decrease over time, and the timeline will be different for everyone. But occasional waves, even still, are very normal. And that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean backsliding. It doesn't mean failure. It doesn't mean relapse. It's just something that is going to happen sometimes. So the more we know that, and the more we can do things ahead of time or have tools for in the moment, the easier we'll be on ourselves, hopefully, about going through this experience. So if you're experiencing a lot of cravings right now, these days, or if you're anticipating a lot of them when you decide it's time to cut ABC out of your life, there's no perfect way to do all of this, and there's no obligation to try to find the perfect way to do all of this. And also, there's nothing wrong with you if you still want the thing that used to bring relief and comfort and fun or courage or whatever it used to bring you. It's that we're now building a life where that thing is not going to have that kind of power in our life anymore. And so we're taking back that power, and the cravings are just part of that process. And it takes time, but we are worth our own time. So I hope this wasn't too lecture-y. Maybe it sounded kind of lecture-y, but I just again, please know that you're not alone, and please reach out to someone you trust, someone you feel safe with, or, a stranger like me who's been through it and is going through it as well. And if this helped or didn't help, feel free to share your experience below. You can click on my links if you're looking for tools. Be gentle with yourself, and, one day at a time and all that. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.